It is Minneapolis. We're watching it. Dante's Boxing Nation. Keep watching. Keep watching.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, it's kind of funny because before Tim Bradley beat Brandon Rios, I interviewed him and I said, Tim, have you ever thought about selling your story? And you know, he kind of chuckled. And I was like, no, I'm serious, man, because you have a real type of Rocky Balboa story. You know, with all the highs and lows in your career. I mean, you go all the way back to the 140-pound division. Tim Bradley completely unified the belts at a stacked division, okay? This man beat Kendall Holt. He beat Miguel Vasquez. He beat Nate Campbell. He beat Devin Alexander. He beat Junior Witter. And the list just goes on and on and on. And I know, by the way, Nate Campbell wasn't technically a win, but it was a win, if you know what I mean, okay? He then moved up to the welterweight division, chasing pound for pound number one, number two, the best fighter in the world, Manny Pacquiao, right? He gets the contract, signs the contract, he gets in the ring with Manny Pacquiao, and he beats him. But just like in a dramatic movie, there's controversy. After Tim Bradley is celebrating with his family, he just won the biggest fight of his career. This is going to change his entire life, right? They're celebrating. But then all of a sudden, Max Kellerman enters the ring. And Max Kellerman, who's supposed to be a reporter that interviews people, he actually starts telling Tim Bradley what he personally thought about the fight without even asking him a question. So Max Kellerman, he tells Bradley, well, we thought Manny Pacquiao won the fight easy, etc., etc. Now, keep in mind, guys, if you ever go back and watch this fight again, what you will notice is this was largely influenced. The way people look at this fight today, it had 90% to do with what Max Kellerman said in that ring. He set the trend. Because when the fight was announced that Tim Bradley won the fight, the crowd was quiet. There was no boos. There was no, this is ridiculous, this is a robbery. There was no talks like that. It didn't start until Max Kellerman got on the mic and he said, well, we thought that Manny Pacquiao won the fight by a wide margin, right? So after Max Kellerman pretty much got the ball rolling, it was only a matter of time before the majority of the boxing world, they were basically regurgitating the same stuff that Max pretty much started. All saying it was a robbery. So we fast forward to where Tim Bradley gets home. And now the movie is turning into one of those 1960s, 70-ish true story black movies where they're being harassed and, you know, the team players, they've been harassed and they're getting hate mail, death letters. Because this is when Tim Bradley starts to receive hate letters and death threats, right? I'm talking about some real heavy shit. I mean, to this day, I cannot think of one modern day boxer that was receiving hate mail and death threats delivered to his home, where his family is a target just because he got a decision that some fans felt he didn't deserve to get, right? So the movie's getting heavy now, right? Now Tim Bradley is extremely stressed out, and I mean, it's gotten so bad that even his trainer is feeling bad for him because, by the way, Joel Diaz, he did a lot of interviews where he kept saying, man, I just really feel sorry for, and I feel bad for everything that Tim Bradley is going through right now. You know, they treated Tim Bradley like he was O.J. Simpson walking down the street after he got away with the crime that he was accused of, right? this is how Tim Bradley was treated on the streets by boxing fans, right? Everybody got something smart to say about the Pacquiao fight. It was a horrible time for Tim Bradley. And this is all documented, okay? So Tim Bradley, he falls off a little bit. He starts questioning if he really wants to continue boxing, just like a movie, right? Then all of a sudden, his comeback. And his comeback is against Ruslan Provodnikov, right? They throw him in there with this beast, and this fight turns out to be Rocky Balboa versus Ivan Drago, okay? A straight slugfest, a straight knockdown, beat up slugfest, okay? Both fighters are getting beat up so much, they both complained about pissing out black blood after the fight. That's how deep this fight was. Tim Bradley got his back against the ropes, damn near out of the fight, still punching. Damn near knocked out on this fight, and he's still punching like a machine, right? Now, just like in Rocky V, after Rocky beat Ivan Drago, he goes to the hospital, and it's not good news. He finds out he has neurological problems, a lot of health issues, right? Courtesy of the square circle. So going back to Tim Bradley, same situation. After the Ruslan Provodnikov fight, it took a long time for Tim Bradley to recover from that fight. Tim Bradley was talking about slurred speech that wasn't going away. He was dealing with a lot of stuff, man. Dealing with a lot of stuff. I remember Joel Diaz told me that when he tried to come back to the gym to start sparring, he told me it was like 13-year-old kids that were in the ring with Tim Bradley getting the best of him. And he said Tim just looked awful. He didn't look nothing like Tim the Desert Storm Bradley. Okay? So now, while Tim Bradley is damn near looking like he's on the decline, now keep in mind, this is the funny part. Before this all happened, we rewind a couple years back, Tim Bradley had been calling out Juan Manuel Marquez for years. Marquez was never interested in the fight. Nacho Beristain, Marquez's trainer, was never interested in the fight, right? Soon as Tim Bradley looks like his career is pretty much done and he got one foot out the door, that's when Marquez says, you know what, I changed my mind. We'll go ahead and fight that guy, right? So they fall for the bait. They think this dude is out and he ain't Tim Bradley no more. Next thing you know, we see the best Tim Bradley we've seen since the Manny Pacquiao fight. And Tim Bradley does the unthinkable. And he dominates the guy that just knocked out Manny Pacquiao, right? But wait, there's even more drama. So now there's the Bradley versus Pacquiao rematch. Bradley loses the rematch to Manny Pacquiao, right? He puts on an impressive string of wins after that against a whole bunch of nice young lions like Jesse Vargas, Diego Chavez. Regardless of what they called that decision, it's still a win for Bradley. He gets these impressive wins, and then for whatever reason, he has a divorce with his longtime trainer, Joel Diaz. Now, he's like Creed looking for a new trainer, right? And he goes out and he finds who? Teddy Atlas. And like Teddy Atlas told us in interviews, Tim Bradley was pretty much begging Teddy Atlas to train him. And Teddy was like, I don't know, champ. I've had a lot of people say they're going to be dedicated and I wasted my time. And I don't know, man. I'm cool with my gig. I like the job working for ESPN. I don't know, Tim. And Tim is constantly telling him, I'm going to be your best student. I'm going to be there training hard every day, etc., etc., etc. Just like the Creed movie, right? So this is when Teddy Atlas finally says, all right, kid, don't make me regret this. Next thing you know, they're signing a contract to fight against the very tough, durable Brandon Rios. This is the first test. with Bradley working with Teddy Atlas. There's already a lot of pressure, a lot of criticism. A lot of people are saying it's a little too late to jump from one trainer to another in the middle of a training camp. It's not going to work. He's setting himself up for failure. This is basically what the media is saying, right? So there's a little bit more drama in the movie right there. They have to pass this first test. A lot of pressure on Teddy Atlas. He goes in there with Teddy Atlas and does something that no fighter has ever done. And he knocks out Brandon Rios. Now comes the big one. The final chapter of Creed Part 2, right? So now they get the phone call. You got the Manny Pacquiao fight. They jumping up and down. Tim Bradley is calling Teddy Atlas. We got it, baby. We got the Pacquiao fight. And you know what Teddy Atlas says? And I'm quoting because this is exactly what Teddy Atlas just recently said. Teddy Atlas said, anyone who has watched me on ESPN for nearly 20 years knows I'm not one to throw out superlatives unless I believe them. But Pacquiao is one of the best fighters of the last decade. It'll be a tough challenge, but we'll make sure we're ready for it. We will respect the challenge Pacquiao presents. We will do what we're supposed to do and be 100% prepared. It will be a difficult fight. End quote. That sounds like a conversation Sylvester Stallone was having with Michael B. Jordan, aka Creed, when he was about to fight the pound-for-pound best fighter in the movie. So anyway, that's pretty much how this story is playing out. You know, it's funny because when I watched the movie Creed, looking at Michael B. Jordan, I kept seeing Tim Bradley. I kept saying, man, it looks like Tim Bradley could have played this part, right? And now Tim Bradley has a story very similar to Creed's story. We'll see what he does with this third opportunity. Like I've been telling you guys, this situation only benefits Tim Bradley. This fight does nothing for Manny Pacquiao. And the reason why it does nothing for him is because the perception of the fans, they all said that Pacquiao, he won both fights. So if they truly believe that, then that means the majority of them, they believe there's no reason to have a third fight. So what does Pacquiao have to gain if he beat Tim Bradley twice already? He has nothing to gain. The only person that has something to gain is Tim Bradley. Because if he wins this fight, technically he will have 2 fights over Manny Pacquiao. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do a 4th one after that, right? So there's a lot riding on this fight for Tim Bradley. There's, not a whole lot riding on it when it comes to Manny Pacquiao. Or maybe I should put it this way. He has a whole lot more to lose than Tim Bradley does. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and wrap this video up. I'll be dropping my prediction breakdown video on this fight as well very soon. So that's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.